ASMR Who, and I just watched Empire of Death. I say just watched. I watched it a bit ago. I've sort of let my thoughts settle on this one because I'm not entirely sure yet what I've thought of it. I would have to sort of. I've only watched part one the once, which was last week. I've not rewatched that since. So, these two episodes, this one story, I'm not I didn't refresh my memory, so I can't necessarily speak to the whole story. But I left a bit of time to let my thoughts on this episode specifically sort of digest a little bit. I haven't looked at the general reactions, of course. I never do when I'm making these videos, but yeah, Empire of Death. What did I think? I thought that it was very much. I thought it was very mixed. I thought there were positives and negatives. I think it was very much in the same vein as the Russell T Davies finales. It started off, I'll be honest, on a pretty much a negative. The idea of this sweeping dust of death that was killing people immediately. I thought was either going to be a thing of it's going to kill a load of people and then get forgotten about, or it's going to get undone, and as soon as Kate Stewart and all the people in UNIT, Rose Noble and Lenny Rush's character, as soon as they died, I was like, oh, okay, so we're definitely in for the classic Russell T Davies series finale Ex Machina. Where he reverses whatever he's done, most notably in Last of the Time Lords, which just rewinds time. In Journey's End, they just move the Earth back. In the End of Time, they undo the Master Race thing, so there's precedent for this sort of a conclusion. And yeah, if it was just Kate who had the sort of sacrifice plate, like if she got everyone else out of that room and sacrificed herself, maybe I would have bought that this is the end for her. But the fact they all died, I was like, oh, okay, so this isn't going to stick then. And my investment was immediately sort of lessened. I thought Sutekh was decent. I did watch. I didn't get around to it on Thursday evening on broadcast, but yesterday morning, Friday morning, as this video comes out, was yesterday morning, I did watch the Tales of the TARDIS Pyramids of Death release with the Doctor and Ruby in the Remembered TARDIS, and of course the omnibus of Pyramids of Mars, which is a story I have seen, but it's been a while, so I thought I'll watch it again. It was quite early for me, in that I'd just woken up and was only sort of half awake, I will say, but I thought I'd refresh my memory with that story. My point being that I thought Sutekh was decent in this episode. Gabriel Wolf has still got it, of course, and I thought that he was menacing, and I thought that it kind of, there was more reason for Sutekh to return than was presented in the previous episode. what I will say is that the idea that Sutek has been clinging onto the side of the TARDIS for all this time, like since Pyramids of Mars, I think is very silly, to be honest. But, you know, that is what it is. I just think it's a case of it's like, okay, but has he though? Like, really? It's one of those things where you can say that a thing has been the case for ages, but I don't buy it personally, which is weird because some stuff you can say and I will buy it, but this just, I don't, for whatever reason. I thought it was interesting how this episode, in the way that Russell does, is that it kind of, brings back elements of previous stories, although to a lesser extent than Series 1. I think, well, do I? Because if I'm thinking Series 1, the Christopher Eccleston 2005 Series 1, you get a Bad Wolf mention in every episode, but of course the episodes that really then actually matter and impact the finale in terms of the sort of plot of it is arguably Rose, Aliens of London, World War III, Boomtown, for all the family dynamic stuff. Boomtown as well, because you get the Heart of the TARDIS, the Long Game because it sets up the game station, and Father's Day because Rose talks to her mum about meeting her dad, and that influences Jackie to help her. Whereas with this series, episodes like Boom and Rogue and Dot and Bubble and Space Babies are kind of not, they're there for the Susan Twist mystery, but not for any other reason. You get stuff calling back from Church on Ruby Road, obviously a lot of the mysteries, but also the gloves and the rope. But I really liked how this episode brought back elements of 73 yards. It didn't necessarily explain 73 yards, but the fact that Ruby kind of knows about what 73 yards is, and the idea that the stuff with Roger Ap William still plays a part, I thought that was interesting and fun. In terms of the big mysteries, of course, as I think I predicted last time that Mrs. Flood wasn't going to get answered this time. I'm trying to think if I predicted stuff and what kind of came true from my predictions. If I didn't mention it last week, my predictions in terms of what mysteries were going to get answered and what mysteries weren't, is that Mrs. Flood as a mystery wasn't going to get answered, and it didn't. The boss as a mystery wasn't going to get answered, and it didn't. I'm trying to think. What else? I predicted. I felt that we were going to get answers about Ruby's mum and all that stuff. We don't know why it snows though, right? That never got answered unless I missed it, which I might have done. Talking about the mystery of Ruby's mum, I quite like the idea that she's just a normal woman. I never subscribed to the idea that Ruby was going to be her own mum, or it was going to be Susan or the Rani, or any of the theories that were put out there. In the same way I never subscribed to the Sutek theory and was wrong. I didn't ever really care to speculate myself about who Ruby's mum was, but the idea that it is just a normal woman and kind of the circumstances of stuff happening around her made her important. I thought that was quite nice, and I kind of liked the fact that it was underplayed and that the doctor was kind of saying, she made her choice and maybe we should leave her alone, but Ruby can't help herself and goes to say hello, and they sort of reunite as a family dynamic, and she kind of leaves the doctor because she's found her family and she has to. We know she's in the next series. They've confirmed she's in the next series for some of it anyway. It seems like she's not going to be in the Christmas special, and it looks like we might get a bit of Verada Sethu on her own first before Ruby comes back, but I liked the sort of ending at the moment, and I could see her not coming back at all. If it wasn't for the fact we know that she is, I would assume that this is it for her. But I felt that the idea that what Ruby's mum was actually pointing at was the sign on the lamppost, I think that's a bit silly. I didn't buy that. But yeah, I thought that it's kind of an anticlimax in a way, but I don't mind that sort of expectation subversion, and I don't think that the who is the mystery of Ruby's mum. It's a case of why did she leave her, and yes, who is she, but what is the mystery around that, and now we know. I felt that the way, I'm a bit all over the place here, but I felt the way that Sutek was defeated was kind of a bit over the top and a bit over dramatic. But, it was set up well enough, and it was a cool visual, and I remember we were told quite a while ago that there was a reason why the TARDIS sort of skims the edge of the vortex in the title sequence, and that's because of Sutek, right? So maybe we won't see that anymore in the title sequence, but yeah, I felt that whole thing was a bit weird, because you have these very calm scenes in the TARDIS where they're saying, "Oh look, we got all the planets back and everything," and they're sort of celebrating. And the Doctor's very calmly walking towards the door, and meanwhile the vortex is flying past, and this big dog monster's, flailing about. It didn't quite go together, I felt. I wasn't sold by the big dog monster version of Sutek in the previous episode. I felt it worked a little bit better here, but I still don't love it. But I felt that I think overall I thought this was okay. I think it is a mixed bag, but I think it's a sound script. I'm not sure about the scene with Siobhan Finneran's character, and her spoon and all this, like, that seemed a bit weird. I suppose it was to sort of convey the idea of the memory erasing thing. I'm not sure why people's memories were being erased. Is it because of memory? And I don't know. I wasn't sure about that sequence, but just think, the conclusion is set up and everything, but it's just not a story I can see myself revisiting very often. Whereas there are some stories in this series, stories like 73 Yards and Dot and Bubble, possibly a few others that I think I might, go, oh, I'll watch that one. But I don't feel that way. But I don't feel that way about most finales. They tend to not be my favourite episodes in a series, and that's true of this. But I thought it was decent. I am going to do a full series sort of roundup, I think. I know I said I was going to do that for the specials back in last year, and I didn't, but I do intend, at the very least, to do a sort of roundup of this series. I think I might rewatch the whole series again, including Church on Ruby Road, which very much is a part of this series, and sort of give a full overview. I've got a lot of free time coming up soon, so I should have time to do a whole sort of series review and roundup, and kind of touch on points I missed or opinions that I've changed, or sort of general overall thoughts. So yeah, look forward to that soon-ish. I don't know when I'll get it out. It's been fun to do these videos every week. What I'm sort of intending on doing, as well as a full series roundup, I've been waiting on kind of doing some general ranking videos, which people love a good ranking video. It kind of feels like rite of passage as a Doctor Who YouTuber, if I can be considered that, to sort of rank the Doctors and rank your favourite, whatevers. So I'm gonna do that. I wanted to give Shooty a full series though, before having any sort of set opinion on him and ranking him with the other Doctors. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a series ranking with this series as well, I think. Possibly a few others, we'll see. But those are my sort of upcoming plans. Aside from that, I'm not sure. Possibly a few more sort of in-person videos, on-camera videos that I've not done for quite a while, because we've been doing these series, these episodes, reactions. But I want to get a few more of those done. I might try and get some of the books that have come out recently. I'm not sure. We'll see. My plans are not set in stone at the moment, but yeah, I kind of want to build a little bit off the momentum of the series, and the episodes are all out, but there's still a fair bit to talk about. So that's the sort of upcoming plans for this channel now this series is over, and my thoughts on Empire of Death. One last little thought has just come to me as well. I liked the fact that when they went in the memory TARDIS, Mel picked out the Doctor's coat. She was like resting with the 6th Doctor's coat and the 7th Doctor's jumper. Like, she was Remy clearly has a fondness for that time and those Doctors, which makes sense, and that kind of gave her comfort. I just like that little character detail. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Empire of Death. A decent finale, not the best, not the worst. About what I expected, I think, but yeah, let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy this episode? Have you enjoyed this series or season, I suppose? And yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all in the next next video, whatever that may be. Thank you for watching, thank you for your time.